be a part of this with us. So welcome to our monthly virtual cooking class for the Pinnacle branch in Thermomix. Usually we do what's new to Cookidoo, but today we wanted to sort of give you a little bit of a Mother's Day special. And so we're going to do a 3-course menu with something sweet on the side. Is that correct? We have anything special to say about that? All right, so up first we have Beck, and she's doing our entree for us.
Thank you, Claire. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For those who don't know me, my name is Beck McAllister, otherwise Thermomade. I'm based in the Southern Highlands in New South Wales, and I have been with Thermomix now for, this is my 8th year. So tonight, guys, I'm going to be cooking for you some, let me check the recipe name. It's smoked salmon and preserved lemon choux buns. So a little bit fancy, a little bit special for Mother's Day, but it's actually not that difficult. Now, I did make a start on this before you joined because the first step of the choux pastry needed to cool down for 15 minutes. So all that was adding some water and some butter to the Thermomix, warming that up till the butter was melted, and then I added 75 grams of plain flour, mixed that together on speed 5. Now, this recipe is on Cookidoo, so I'm just following the step. For anyone with a TM6 who didn't know, your Thermomix now has a built-in timer as well. So my 15 minutes of cooling down, I was able to pop on the timer and let that run down for the 15. So the next step for this is to add my eggs. But before I do, let me just show you what we've got so far. So that's the beginning of our choux pastry. So that's just the butter, water, and flour. Can I just get everyone to check that they're on mute for us, just so we don't get too much interruption for everyone? Thank you so much. All right, so with the motor running, I'm going to add my 2 eggs. So it's okay to remove the measuring cup from the Thermomix whilst you're mixing, obviously not when it's really full and hot, but in this case, I am going to, I'm just going to, oh, hang on a minute. It doesn't set a timer in the recipe, it just allows it to count up. And I just accidentally set a time. 1. So the recipe says just to add those one at a time until they're combined. And then the next step is just to pop in the measuring cup and mix the whole lot together for 20 seconds. So this is what we're making for anyone who's not sure. So these are the little choux buns that we're going to split in half and add our salmon filling. Alrighty. And of course, if anyone has any questions, I'm sure Claire's all over the chat, but if you do have questions, pop them in that chat box and we'll get to them at some point. So here we are. Here's our choux mix. It's really sort of smooth and it's really hard to describe the consistency. Has anyone made a choux pastry before? I'm wondering. Not sure. So what we're going to be doing with these is piping them onto a baking tray. So I've got my mix shot piping bag here. And top tip, it's really hard to fill a piping bag when you're holding it in your hand. So grab yourself a jug or a glass. Claire's saying they're much harder without the Thermomix. I would agree, because you have to stand there and stir and stir and stir over the heat and not allow it to catch. All right.
I tried once long time ago before Thermomix and never again.
All right. So I'm just transferring that. Now on my piping bag, guys, I have got a 1 centimetre round nozzle. Because we're going to just make sort of nice little round buns. If you were wanting to do smaller little buns with the like the star nozzle, you could do that as well, but tonight I'm doing the round ones, and this batch makes 12 quite large ones. All right, sorry guys, my computer's just giving me a little something. Okay, so this is all about Cookidoo in the mix shop. So let me show you the mix shop oven tray. I'm sure you guys have seen these by now, but the rose gold trays with the liners. So the liners are great. For each of the different sizes, they've got the markings. For this particular recipe, the markings are useless because there's not 12 evenly spaced pictures, but that's okay. All righty, so let me just get this up here. Now, we're all experts here.
We can't actually hear when you drop things back because Zoom cuts it out.
Excellent. Yes, I just knocked over my jug. All right, so I'm going to squeeze, and I hope everyone can see this. I've squeezed all my mix to the bottom. Twist the piping bag as best you can to get a nice seal. And then what you're going to be doing is little walnut-sized portions. So the trick is, and it'll take you the first couple to get it right, you need to press down and then swirl it around to finish them off. So don't move the piping bag until right at the end. So keep them still and then do a little swirl. Just like that. And then what we're going to do, I'll finish piping these in a minute so you don't have to watch the whole lot. But the last step before these go into the oven, I just got to crack this egg, whisk it up, and we're going to brush the top with some egg and a little sprinkle of nigella seeds on top. And then these are going in the oven for, I think it's 15 minutes on 190. And then the recipe actually says to turn the oven down to 160 partway through. And then the last step, once they're finished cooking, and this is something I didn't realize, you need to take them out of the oven and pierce the bottom of each bun with a skewer. And that lets the steam escape so that they don't go soft and collapse. Did you know that, Claire Wells? So you pierce the bottom and that lets the steam escape. And then you just pop them back in the oven with the door closed, but the oven turned off for about 5 minutes. So all together, this is going to take us, I think it's about 25 minutes to get these done. And at some point soon, I'm going to come back and show you how to make the filling. But for right now, I'm going to hand over to Claire and to Jodie.
Excellent. Thank you, Beck. All right. Well, actually, Jodie's the star of the show tonight.
Oh, can't see my face. There we go. Hello, everybody. My name's Jodie Blake. I am in the Canberra region, and you can find me on social media as Jodie Blake, the Blades of Glory. And I'm making meatloaf tonight. So has anybody, I'd love to know in the chat, Kim, while Claire is not manning the chat, if you could find out if anybody has minced their own meat before. We're going to do our minced meat. So I'm just going to, the recipe that we're making is the meatloaf with red sauce, and you can do, there are a couple of recipes on Cookidoo that also have a mushroom sauce with the same meatloaf, so you can really change your sauce up. And then there's also, I think, a meatloaf with spinach in it, but we're putting ham and cheese in this one. So I'm just going to work my way through the recipe. The first step is to mill our Parmesan cheese. So I just have 60 grams of Parmesan there. And sorry, we're putting in parsley and as well. So I'm going to pop that in. So Parmesan and parsley together. And we're just going to mill that up for 10 seconds on speed 10.
Christy and Anna and Christina have all done their own meat.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we have a bit of a green Parmesan, and I'm just going to pop that aside while we then move into mincing our meat. So you can put in different, when you're mincing your own meat, you can put in lots of different flavors and stuff if you like. This one has got garlic cloves and some rosemary. So I'll pop that in. And we're just going to chop that up really quickly. So 3 seconds on speed 7. And we'll scrape down the bowl. So I put extra garlic into ours. You can leave the garlic out if you really want to. I've disappeared. Why am I not there?
They can see.
I can't see me though. All right. So the next step is to put in 500 grams of meat. So you want to put in like chunks of beef like this, and you want it to be partially frozen. So not solid frozen and not fully defrosted. Okay. And that is so the blades can slice through the meat. So we want to pop that in with the garlic and the rosemary. And then we're going to turbo that. So love the turbo function. So it's a 5-second turbo, and turn the speed selector 8 times. So we're going to turbo that 8 times.
What sort of meat are you using, Jody?
We have, what have we got, Claire? Top side?
Yeah, top side. Yeah.
Top side.
So I'm just going to increase the time to a 2-second turbo. So there's a 1/2 second, a 1, or a 2-second turbo. And I'm increasing the time, and I'm going to do it less. That is much better. So you can change the turbo if you want to. You don't have to leave it on what the Thermomix says.
And you'll find that depends on how much you've frozen it. So you might accidentally over freeze. And so you might need to maybe do it a little bit longer. When I did it earlier, I just took the MC off and watched it just to see how it was going.
Yeah, so this is pretty good. We don't need to do that anymore at all. And it's quite good. So I'm going to leave it like that. Next, we're putting in a couple of eggs. And then we want fresh breadcrumbs. Now, if you are gluten-free, you can use almond meal, which is what I'm using now. So I just mixed up, and I'm using the same weight as the recipe. So I'm just substituting there. And then we want a pinch of salt. And how do you use these? Salt pig. There we go. And a bit of pepper. Right. Do we take the lid off? Yes. Can you tell I'm cooking in somebody else's kitchen? It's not like that looks super familiar. And I'm going to make a nice mess as well. I'm going to put my parmesan and parsley back in. And we're going to mix that up. And we're turboing again. So I'm going to change it to 1. Oh, wrong one. 1 there. Go. And we do that 4 times. Here it's slowed down in there as well. And that I just want to use the spatula to mix it up a bit. There we go. Perfect. All right. So in a second, I'm going to lay that out on my prosciutto. But what I'm going to do first is get, pardon?
Mix it more.
Mix it more. Yeah, I will in a minute. I want to get this on. So the next part of the recipe, hey?
20 seconds speed 5.
What do I need to do that for?
To make it.
Oh, I've missed a step in the recipe. Sorry. The boss is telling me I have to go back and do it. You can't miss anything around here. There we go. Right, 20 seconds and speed 5. Oh, it's kind of like kneading it all together. Right. Let's have another look. Is that okay now? I can move on. All right, there we go. It's just minced and kneaded it all together, which is quite good. So do we want to move that closer so they can see the pictures or not? I don't know. Can you see, how's the vision on the screen? Is it all right?
I can see Jody, but I also know what the pictures look like, so I'm
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to show was that the recipe actually shows quite well how to place out your meat onto your prosciutto. So that will be the next step. And then it also shows how to layer the ham and the mozzarella. So I will show you that close up in a second. But what I do want to do is just move on to our sauce stage. Move that back now to the right thing. And then I'll show you the prosciutto rolling. So the next step is making our sauce. And that is with garlic, onion, celery, and parsley. So I've got all of that into here. I'm going to pop it in. And we're just going to chop all of that up and then start sauteing it. So just 3 seconds on speed 7. All right, so we've got that nice and chopped. And we're just going to add in some olive oil. And we want 40 grams of olive oil. And now we're going to start simmering. So we need a simmering basket, please, Claire. Have you got one? Thank you. And that just goes on for about 3 minutes. So now I'll show you how to roll this out. So here we go. So I've just laid out the prosciutto onto my Thermomat. You could, if you don't have a Thermomat, you could just do it on a piece of baking paper. Or you could put it on a piece of foil if you wanted to, whatever you've got that you can roll it out onto. And then I just want to pour my meat out on top of here and spread it right out over the prosciutto. And you want to leave a gap at the top, almost like rolling scrolls. Who's made scrolls before? Very similar to that. Right. So you can use your hands and your spatula to spread it all out. You don't want to make it too thick either, and you want to get it right to the edge and make as neat a rectangle as possible for anyone except me, because I'm not very good at being a neat cook. So I'm like the opposite to Rebecca, where she cooks so beautifully and everything looks so lovely. And I'm like, let's just get it done so we can eat it. All right, there is our, oh, look, I made a rectangle, Beck. Are you proud of me?
I really am, Jodie. And I'm not going to show you what just went in my oven because they're pretty messy.
All right, so I've got some ham and I'm just going to layer that across here like that. And then I've also got some mozzarella cheese that is cut quite thick. You want it to be nice and thick, and lay that right across. Am I going to use all that? Probably not. Hey, I put it up there. You put it up there, yeah. Claire did all my prep for me. How good's that? I wish she'd come over every night and do the cooking prep. There we go. Okay, so now what you want to do is use your mat and your hands to get in there and roll that over as much as you can. Just going to squish that out just a little bit more. All right. And you want to roll it nice and tight over like that. Yay. Okay. How good's that look? All right. So then we're going to just place it into our varoma. You want to place it seam side down so it doesn't pop open. And this one is really long. Look at that. So you could cut it in half and put them in there next to each other. I think I probably will do that because it is super long. And Claire did warn me that I needed to make it shorter, but I was like, no. Anyway, here we are, and she is correct. And am I going to keep going with that, or are we going to go there?
Let's start with Kim. Kim, do you need to, or do we want to show the sauce? We can just show after you get started.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name's Kim and I'm on the south coast of New South Wales from Narracama down to Batemans Bay. And I'm on Instagram as Thermomar. I'm going to be doing some steamed sticky date puddings. So let's get started. Has anyone made sticky date puddings before? Okay, so we're not going to preheat the oven because I'm going to steam them in the varoma to show you how you can steam them in the varoma. But we're going to start with 200 grams of pitted dates. And one thing to do if you've got pitted dates is always check that there's no pips inside, because I have done that before where I thought they were pitted dates and it's very noisy and not very nice in your sticky date. We're going to insert the measuring cup and just chop that on speed 7 for 8 seconds. So you get a nice sort of mincy sort of thing. And then we are going to add 300 grams of water. And we're going to pop that on, place the simmering basket on top, and that's going to go for 5 minutes on speed 1. So it's just making a nice soft pulpy sort of date mix for our sticky date. Do you want to go back to you, Jody, for your sauce?
Okay, so I've just put in 150 grams of white wine and then 800 grams of whole peeled tomatoes. So a couple of cans, and then we are putting in some sweet potatoes. So I've just got some diced up sweet potatoes, about 300 grams, a carrot, and a potato as well, a white potato. So I've just got those all in there. And then we are going to put our simmering basket back on top. We're not cooking the meatloaf yet. So 5 minutes at 120 degrees on speed 1. So we're just going to get cooking with that sauce now, and back to whoever's next.
Does anyone have stuff, or do you want me to do something? Oh no, Beck, you do the
I can make my filling if we're ready.
Yeah, do that.
Awesome. All right. So I just checked on my choux buns. They're puffed up, but they still have quite a bit of cooking time to go. All righty. Let me just, now what I'm doing here, I slightly changed the order of the steps to show you this recipe tonight. Now, for anyone who doesn't realize, when you navigate in your TM6, you can go back to the beginning and view the recipe detail. So you can sort of jump between parts of your recipe. So what you'll be looking for is up the top alongside the next button, there's 3 little green dots, not green dots, 3 dots. And you hit the little button that says recipe detail. And it takes you right back to the front screen of the recipe. And from there, you can actually scroll down and select the step that you want to jump to. Really handy if your recipe has a couple of components and you want to do one ahead of the other, as I did. All right, so with this one, we're doing 100 grams of smoked salmon. So I've got 200 grams of salmon here. Half of it's going in the actual filling, and the rest will be used for presentation. So I'm just going to pop that in there. We've also got ricotta cheese, so 200 grams of that. Oh, excuse me, I forgot my spatula. Now, you could probably use cream cheese as well, if that was your preference. And if you're dairy-free, then use a dairy-free alternative. So 200 grams of ricotta. Then we're putting in some preserved lemon. Now, this is an ingredient that I don't cook with very often. I'm not a huge fan. But I realised following this recipe that part of the problem might be that in the past when I've cooked with it, I've never rinsed the rind. So I've actually been adding the salt as well as the lemon. So this recipe told me to rinse the preserved lemons before I put them in. Let's see if it makes a difference. So about a teaspoon of that. And then we've also got some lemon juice. Now, we've just released one of these into the mix shop. It's not this exact one. It's a stainless steel version, but it's a citrus juicer. So mine has got lemon and lime all in one unit, but the one in the mix shop is it's just a single one, but it's a little bit larger. Bear with me. That is my timer telling me to turn down my oven. So we're down to 160 now for those buns. All right, tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, another trick, you don't measure a tablespoon. It just dirties things. You can manually turn on your scales. 20 grams is roughly a tablespoon of liquid. So I'm going to weigh in my lemon juice, which is about half a lemon. Okay. Then we've got some fresh dill and some ground pepper. So this is, I don't know about you guys, but I grind peppercorns in my Thermomix to make ground pepper so that I don't have to get out the pepper grinder. I can actually just sprinkle. Alrighty, so we're going to whiz that up just for 20 seconds on speed 6. So it's basically a dip. All right, so again, another piping bag. This time I'm using the star nozzle because the recipe told me to, and it's the expert. All right, my timer is up. Yes, I know, thank you. I've just turned off the second timer. I'm terrible. Whenever I do demos, guys, if anyone's had a cooking experience or a demo with me, you'll know how notorious I am at putting things in the oven and then chatting and then forgetting about them. All right. So I'm just giving this a little mix. There was a little bit up the outside of the bowl, but we've basically just got a dip consistency. So that's going in my piping bag. And then once my buns are ready, I'll get those out and we'll pipe them up. Who's next? Claire Wells.
I can go on with my dates. Okay, so it's finished the 5 minutes cooking, and now we're going to put the measuring cup in, and we're just going to mix that for 10 seconds on speed 4. Okay, scrape down the sides. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of bicarb soda. Insert the measuring cup again and just mix that on speed 2 for 3 seconds. Okay, now it says to transfer into a bowl, and I'll just show you that it's just gone nice and fuzzy. I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to get another Thermomix bowl. Which is why you have 2 bowls. Okay, it says to clean and dry the mixing bowl. I'm not going to do that because I've just got a clean one. And now we're going to add 170 grams of raw sugar. Pop the lid on again. And we're going to do that on speed 9 for 10 seconds. So we've made icing sugar. We're going to pop in the butterfly whisk. And we're going to add 60 grams of unsalted butter, softened. Put the lid back on. And go around to speed 4 for 10 seconds. So it's just combining it. Again, we're scraping the sides of the bowl. And now we're going to just do 1 minute on speed 4. When I was making these yesterday, I actually stopped halfway and scrape the sides down again because it gets a little air pocket in it. So just so it keeps creaming the mixture. Really easy way to cream your butter and sugar.
I have something to show you guys. So we talked about what the piping bags are in. I use this for my piping bags. So this is also from our mix shop. It's so big. I only use this if I make, Beck's got the little one. I use this when I do, you know, like a big frappe or a nice big drink and no one else is around to drink it with me. And it stays cold in the fridge for ages, like hours. I'll still have sort of cold icy drink, but I use this for my piping bag to sit it in.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn the speed selector to 4. I did what you did, Beck, turn the timer on. And we're going to add an egg. So 1 egg at a time. Move the butterfly whisk. And I'm just going to scrape the sides down. And the next part of the step is to add some vanilla extract. So this is vanilla bean paste that I've made from vanilla beans. I can't remember exactly how much, but it actually fills this whole jar up, which is about 350 grams. And it's just sugar and rice malt syrup. So it's very cost effective. We just want a teaspoon of that. And then we're going to have 170 grams of self-raising flour. And we're going to add the reserved date mixture. Measuring cup in. And that's going to mix for 5 seconds on speed 4. So as we said before, we're actually going to use the varoma. I'll just scrape down the sides. And these are silicone molds from the mix shop. So they come in a set of 2, like so. One fits in the base of the varoma and the other one fits in the tray. So they're great. You could make individual steamed white cheesecakes. You could do the little puddings with the lemon syrup on top. But tonight we're going to use these in the varoma, and we're going to steam them in the varoma. So I'm going to start pouring that in, and we'll go to someone else.
Can I quickly jump back in, Claire, for a sec? So, pardon me. Now, I'm no pastry chef, guys. These are far from perfect, but they've had their time in the oven. Sorry, that's them there. I actually forgot to put the nigella seeds on top, so I had to open the oven and sprinkle them last. But what I've done most of them, but all I'm doing, grab a skewer, pop it through the bottom, and that just lets the steam escape. Pop them back on the tray and then stick them in the oven for another 5 minutes with the oven turned off. And that just allows them to dry out, and that makes them nice and easy to cut. Because if they're too soft, it's hard to sort of cut them and then fill them. So I'll pop those back in for 5 more minutes. If we have the time, I do have 2 here that I made yesterday. I could demonstrate the piping now, or we can wait. Claire, it's up to you.
Well, we'll just show you come to you in a sec, Beck, and I suppose I have fudge to make you too.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
wrap up this one.
Okay, so I did put it in side by side next to each other. So I've got the meatloaf there, but let's just pretend now that we've been cooking it here for 25 minutes. So there is the meatloaf goes on top. You cook it for 25 minutes. I feel like I've got to bend down, sorry. And then after 25 minutes, you add a mixture of vegetables, whatever you want to have. So we've got in here some carrots and potatoes. You can put broccoli and stuff like that in here as well. And then you cook it for another 10 minutes. So once it is all cooked, here is one we prepared earlier. We do have our meatloaf. So Claire made hers shorter than I did mine, and it fit in the varoma. And then we've got all our veggies and everything cooked in there. And then what we want to do is set that aside, pop in our measuring cup, and we're going to blitz up our sauce that's in there. So the sweet potato and all of that. So we want to turn it to 20 seconds first. And then, to speed 4 first, and then we're going to increase the speed.
So I can get my other sauce on too, if you like, because it's only quick adding everything in. So it said to clean and dry the mixing bowl. I've used my 3rd bowl, and we're going to add 250 grams of pouring cream. $200 grams of brown sugar, 130 grams of unsalted butter, and this time I've got some homemade vanilla extract, which is just vodka and vanilla beans halved. So we're going to try this one. Measuring cup in, and that's going to cook for 5 minutes on speed 4. And I'm just going to reboil the jug, ready to use the varoma with some water, boiled water.
We're back to Jody now.
Oh, there we go. I'm trying to also cook in someone else's kitchen and operate someone else's computer at the same time. All right, what am I'm now showing you this plated up. I just need, give me 2 seconds. There is a lot of sauce. Now, my tip for this recipe is to either half the sauce. Here we go. It would look nice if we had some broccoli on there as well to make it green. There is a lot of sauce. So you could either make the quantity of the sauce and keep half of it for next time you want to make it, like pop it in the freezer and then just do the meatloaf next time, or just do half of the quantity of the sauce, because the jug is actually full and you really are not going to use all of this sauce unless you're mostly eating sauce and a little bit of meat. So it's really up to you how you want to eat it. But yeah, this is a great recipe. We love it at our place, and yeah, hope you give it a try. All right, who's next?
Are you doing your plate up there?
No, Claire, let's do the fudge.
Okay, let's do this. So just move all this ton of meatloaf sauce. I got the fun job of making fudge, which I don't normally make fudge because I don't want to have all that extra sugar in my house. Very high in sugar. So if you like to spoil people, and maybe your family members might like to make some fudge just as a special treat for Mother's Day. So I'm doing the salted chocolate caramel fudge. I'll share the recipe in a moment. And let's go. Actually, Renee's got a question in the chat, Jody. Could the sauce become a soup?
It could. I feel like it could.
I think I've done that in the past. I just watered it down a little bit with a bit of stock.
Yeah, it is really quite a thick sauce. So yeah, absolutely you could, I think, and have like a 2-course meal for sure.
All right, so the first step is to grate my chocolate. It says 170 grams of milk chocolate in small pieces or calays. And I've actually got some dark and a couple of random sultanas in there. So I've got a mixture of milk and a mixture of dark because I ran out of the milk. So that goes in. And this is where it's going to cut me out because it's a little bit of volume. There you go. You guys didn't have to hear that. I blocked my ears. Who grates chocolate? Who tempers chocolate in their Thermomix? We did that at our branch meeting this week. So we all learned how to temper chocolate. And that's one of the great things that you get being in the Thermomix community, is we learn a lot from each other. And there's always someone who knows how to do something. All right, so I just remove the chocolate out of the bowl. Set that aside. How did I mute? How long have I been muted for? That whole time?
No, we could hear you, I think.
Oh, cool. It's weird.
No, you were still on.
Who's made their own condensed milk before? Has anyone made their own? Yeah, Kim, how did you make it?
Sugar, water, and milk powder from memory.
Yeah, amazing. So I didn't make it, but I was definitely considering doing it today. And it could be
and it is on Cookidoo.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so condensed milk is also brown sugar. You can also make your own brown sugar. So I'm pretty sure it's just like a cane sugar with molasses. So you put the molasses back into the sugar. And there is a recipe for that on Recipe Community, I think.
Yeah, and it's also got butter in it. So it's butter, water, sugar, milk powder, and a pinch of salt.
Excellent. So that's for the condensed milk. Nice.
Yeah.
I will definitely link the fudge recipe for you. So here I've got salted butter. And again, you can make your own butter. So how impressive would your fudge be on Mother's Day if you made all of your own ingredients? Golden syrup, you can make your own golden syrup in the Thermomix as well. I've got the golden syrup in here as well as, so the next step is liquid glucose. Now, I don't have it in my house and I couldn't find it, so I used rice malt syrup instead. And I'm pretty sure it will be texturally quite similar, just less glucose. A few pinches of fine sea salt, because this is a salted caramel chocolate. So I'm just going to do like a tiny little spoon worth. And that's when I put my measuring basket on top, sorry, simmering basket on top. 8 minutes, 100 degrees on speed 3. And so that one cooks away. Now, if you guys haven't seen the glider boards, they're amazing. I just use them to move my Thermomixes around my kitchen benches. And we're going to skip all of that waiting. So we've got 8 minutes there. And then the next step is to scrape it down. And then we go another 20 minutes, but at varoma temperature. And so it thickens, gets thicker. Once you've done the 20 minutes at varoma, you then add the chocolate. How good is the preview screen? So good. I'm like, that's how I get all of my next steps going. So you then add your reserved grated chocolate, you mix that through, and then you pour your fudge into a square or whatever shape container you want. So I've pre-made one for you guys because I really love making fudge in my house and having all that extra sugar. I thought I'd do 2 batches. So I got my square cake tin. I'm sure there's one in the mix shop. Is there a square cake tin in the mix shop, ladies? Or not?
I don't think there is.
Okay.
I don't think there is either.
There you go. We'd better go and tell our mix shop man and say, hey, I think we need a square cake tin.
I'll give Craig a call.
Yes. So his name's Craig, and we, the consultants and team leaders, we go to him all the time with great ideas for our mix shop, and he listens. There is a brownie pan, yes. So you could potentially do the little individual portions. So I poured it into the paper and I made it probably at about 3 o'clock. After a couple of hours, it was set, and I sprinkled it with salt at the time. So this here is the Ovana pizza cutter, and I've been instructed by Beck and Kim that this is the best way to cut up my fudge. So I just want to slice that. Could either do long bits or I could do squares. So look at that. I'm just going to show you guys. Depends on how much fudge you want to eat. But the texture is amazing. Honestly, I haven't made fudge for a long, long time. But look at that. It's literally like what you'd buy in the shop and pay a fortune for. See that texture? How good is that? Jodie, do you eat fudge?
Yeah, she won't eat it,
Hang on,
but I will.
Watch Jodie eat it. You can't. It's amazing. Like, can you tell them all what it tastes like?
Oh, I'm that person that stops at every single fudge shop. If I see fudge, I'm like, pull over the car. We need to get the fudge. But this is good. And it's, yeah, it's not too hard and it's perfect.
Awesome. Well, she's going to take some of that home with her today because I'm sure she wants to feed her kids all that sugar as well. Yeah, so who are we going to now?
I'll just put the varoma on.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've boiled the jug and I've filled it up to the 1 litre mark. I'm just going to pop the lid on and then pop my varoma on top. And I'm going to set it for 25 minutes at varoma temperature. And I think I'll do speed 3 maybe. And I'll check it after 25 minutes. I have got one here ready. And this.
Kim, all that needs now is a big dollop of vanilla ice cream.
I know that's outside.
Can you make vanilla ice cream with the Thermomix, Kim?
Yes, you can, Beck. You sure can. Actually, do you know what else would be nice? Just mango ice cream, like the mango fruity ice cream. That's delicious, nice and creamy and
Awesome.
quick. If you don't have vanilla ice cream in the freezer,
Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful.
to have someone here waiting for it.
So yes, family members always hover during these things, don't they, ladies? The good thing about doing demos from home is that you get to cook and feed the family at the same time. Okay, are we ready for me to quickly show assembling these? Awesome. All right. So guys, I'm once again just going to bring you a little bit closer. So I have made a start already, so you didn't have to wait for all of them. But basically what you're going to want to do is grab one of your buns and a knife. I think a little serrated knife, this is a tomato knife, is good for this. Just give it a little slice through. And then grab your filling. Sorry, the shadows are probably in the way in my kitchen. I will do my best. Once again, make sure that you've got all the air out of your piping bag before you start. And if anyone hasn't piped before, and I didn't say this before, give it a good twist, and then you're going to be squeezing with this hand. And you will need to squeeze and sort of turn as you go. So we'll just pipe some of that filling in there like that. And like I said, I'm not a pastry chef. I'll grab one more.
What I can say though is that Beck's probably the best person here to be present beautifully.
All right. So that's what you're going to do, is just fill each one up with some of that beautiful mousse. And then grab the bits of salmon that we had reserved. Pop a little bit on each. If you fold it over, it just sort of presents a little bit nicer. And then, oops, the dill. So a little sprig of dill. And then all you want to do is pop the lids on. So I didn't quite cut this one through, but we're going to pop that on there like that and like that. And then plate them up. So they look super fancy, but they're actually not that difficult. Ta-da! Who's hungry?
I would love to try one, thank you.
I'm glad I didn't eat much for dinner tonight, because my husband's away this week, and these aren't going to be like stable for the lunch boxes tomorrow. So I guess who gets to eat them?
They look great. Yeah.
Might take them to the neighbours. Claire did share that recipe in the chat way up, but you'll get an email after the class with all the links to the recipes as well.
Yeah. The other, I think, have we all finished with our dishes? We've all finished our dishes. Kim, you showed yours. Oh,
yeah.
That's the fudge just needing it straight down. So one of the things that's really exciting at the moment is, has anyone here seen the sparkling black limited edition Thermomix that's circling around on socials? Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. As consultants, we're actually earning that at the moment. And I wanted to give all of you guys an opportunity to see what that is all about. because if you've already got a Thermomix, a TM6 that is classic white, you can literally come into the business as a consultant and start earning your sparkling black. So our big boss, her name's Grace Monsieur. She's the reason we've got Thermomix in Australia. She's incredibly generous. We love working for her. She's a it's a family-owned business, and so she loves to give back to her family, which is us. But we are always looking for more consultants. So our branch spreads from Canberra over to Batemans Bay, up to Wollongong, even into the Sutherland Shire and around over to Campbelltown, down in the Southern Highlands. So sort of that whole encompassed area. And of course, we'd love to grow our team. So there's about 80 of us operating in that area, but I reckon we've got room for at least, 150 consultants to help us grow, and share the love of what the Thermomix does for people. So if you want to stick around, because I think we've shown you all the food tonight, if you want to stick around, I'll just go through what it would involve for you guys to earn yourself a sparkling black. However, if you've got what you need tonight, Beck wants to say something. No. If you've got what you need tonight, you are definitely very welcome to go. Thank you so much to everyone for jumping on.
Make sure you stay though, guys.
Yeah, stay, because then I'll tell you how you can get your own sparkling black.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, everyone.
All right, so the first thing I'll do, because Jodie's wandering around with the sparkling black, is I'm just going to quickly share a couple of slides with you, then you can see it in real life.
Claire's also asked, can you also earn a white one? And yes, you absolutely can. If you're here tonight and you don't already have a white Thermomix, for sales, and you can get your white one and then another 5 sales, and you've also got a black one.
That is so, when I put them together, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so many Thermomixes. So earn your limited edition sparkling black Thermomix between the 9th of May and 4th of July. And, you obviously you're still going to get paid your commissions if you're a consultant. And this is how. So it's a exclusive offer just for our beautiful field team. So you get points. So 5 points earns you your black, 1 point for every closed sale. And then if you do inspire someone to join the business with you, then that can count for 2 points as well. So it's very, very achievable. If you have sort of ever thought to yourself, I love my Thermomix, I'd love to share that with others. Or if you are already talking about Thermomix to people, you could just have a few out there who are really keen to get one on their bench and start saving time, eating better, saving money. If you are looking at earning a white Thermomix because you don't have yours yet, TM6, then you can come on between the 9th of May and 30th of June and earn one with 4 sales. So those 4 sales will actually pay for the price of the Thermomix. And as you'll know, I don't know if you'll know actually, but there is a price rise coming later this year. And so you might want to beat the price rise if you don't already have your Thermomix. But yeah, lots of really great options for you. You can earn a cutter, blade cover peeler, second bowl, white Thermomix and a sparkling black, all with 9 sales in your first 2 months. So it's pretty exciting. And we'd love to share a little bit more with you guys if you are interested. So please reach out to your consultant, or if have a team leader that you're in touch with, reach out to them and we'll give you some more of the info. But if you want to see, who wants to see the sparkling black, since we're only allowed to share it if we talk about the recruitment. So I figured if I give you those few slides, then you actually get to see it. I want to bring it on over, Jodie Blake. So here it is in all its glory, and it's a little bit textured. We love it. It's beautiful. And it just sort of, it's a little bit different to the previous black one because it does have that texture and that shine, and the shine really just comes from the textured surface. So yeah,
That's what makes it sparkly.
it is. And another country patented diamonds, so we chose sparkle.
It's really nice and it feels really good too. Like I love the texture sort of feeling on it. And I feel like, yeah, it's just beautiful. I want one.
And it's got a little rose or champagne colored button and
And the handle as well is champagne colored.
So who can see that in their kitchen? Who's got a kitchen that will suit that beauty? Yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it from us. So thank you so much. Thank you, Kim and Beck and Jody, for showing us your tips and tricks and mix shop items. Until next time.
Thanks, ladies. And don't forget the second bowl for $99
Yeah,
if you host a cooking experience with a sale at your demo.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, definitely host a demo because we've talked a lot about 2 bowls tonight, haven't we? And showing you what you can do with them. All right.
Thanks for coming, Michelle. See ya.
See you. Bye, everybody.